thank everyone, including the committees, for their food, and I want to thank you for being here and enjoying the opportunity that we have to be educated. The 25th book of Matthew, 35th verse, goes something like this. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was a stranger, you took me in. The Kingsport Homeless Ministry is also known as Grace House. We know it pretty well as Grace House. It's a low barrier shelter, or will be, and is for people who, for various reasons, aren't able to use the other shelters that Kingsport provides. In 2020, according to the survey, Kingsport had over 250 homeless people. Now that was in 2020. Today, currently, in all of the shelters that we have for the homeless in Kingsport, we have a capacity of 85 beds. Kingsport needs more space right now more than ever. The Kingsport Homeless Ministry's key service will be to provide access to on-site counselors who will monitor the clients and will link their needs to mental health services, teach them job skills, and give them housing resources. Their mission is to break the cycle of homelessness with a team approach. Tonight, the gentleman who's going to educate us is Don Royston, and Don really doesn't need any introduction as he's been a friend of our church for a long time. Don.
I'm going to play a quick video, about 3 minutes here, that Bobby Flowers, our president, put together for us. I'm the chief photographer on most of this, but I've been trying to document everything. But to start with, I want to do a quick video of Bobby just telling a little bit of the story and the update. He did this about a month ago, so I've got some updates to it too. So our chief technician here is in charge of that.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. My name is Bobby Flowers. I'm the board president of the Kingsport Homeless Ministry. I'm here to give you a little update on Grace House. The construction's been constant in the last 4 or 5 months. We have people working day and some of us nights trying to get everything ready. Johnson Controls has now been signed under contract. They are the ones that's going to install our sprinkler system. Don has worked with them a couple times this week to get everything set up for that. Frank Waldo and his designers are meeting right now to set up the security cameras and the locked door access. I want to thank TCAT Elizabeth in the north and DB's dual enrollment students. They've been building the ramps outside the building. The sheetrock work, and there's a lot of it, is coming along quick now. The bathroom at the end, which will be the new CCS drug and alcohol counseling facility, is nearly finished. It should be done this weekend. We've had to pretty much rewire the entire upstairs of the building. That's going along really quick right now, and it's almost done. LMU, Lincoln Memorial University, is going to come and put in a 5-chair dental facility, which is going to be an amazing blessing to our homeless folks. They are putting in the floors and painting, getting ready to start that in the next week. We are still under construction. There's still a ways to go. But because of partners like First Broad Street United Methodist and all of our volunteers, and there's so many, I can't mention them all right now, but they have been a blessing. We have worked so hard, and if you walk downtown in Kingsport during the day or during the night, you see the incredible need we have. Right now, the only real shelter is the Salvation Army, and they're full pretty much every day. So this is a big need in this city. But the best part about it is it's not just a place for them to go and sleep. This is going to be a place that I pray to God will be a place that changes hearts, changes people. God is in this. This is His building. This is His ministry. And if we're not here to change these people's lives, to show them Jesus, to show that there's a better way to live, then we're failing. But that's why we're here, and that's why we have amazing partners like you. We thank you so much.
That was a quick video, as I said Bobby did. He made a presentation earlier. This is truly a non-denominational Christian organization. It's been working out of a group of bunch of churches we actually incorporated in July the 19th of 2019. Our founder, Joe Morrison, was actually the DCE of this church in her early life. She died last year at 105, and she never quit. We have had tremendous support from this church, both financially and labor. I know we had some that crossed the lines to help the Baptist church Saturday and help paint the lawyer's office that is now going to be the drug and alcohol counselors. I'm the treasurer and the building chair and incorporated it for Joe Morrison. I was her CPA for years, and she asked me to get involved, and my wife was a social worker, so I'm not the social worker, Bobby is. He went back and left a career with WKPT, Holston Valley Broadcasting, of over 40 years to go back to school and get his social work degree. He works for Kingsport Housing now and is our president. So this is our building. Most of you have seen it. It's on Sullivan Street across from Preaching Christ Church. On the left hand, the one-story building, and I'll show you a schematic here in a minute, but just so you've got the visibility of it. The one-story building will be our CCS, which is the counseling service for drug and alcohol. They're currently in the second big window here coming from this end. We had to finish that out and put a handicap bathroom, build ramps and all. We still have getting people back to do the rest of the ramp on that. Floor should go down this weekend with any luck on that. It was painted last weekend. On the left-hand side where you see the building dip, the roof line, the men's side plus the night shift will be on the left-hand end upstairs. The right-hand side will be the women's shelter. That's roughly, this is a 13,000 square foot building, so you've got roughly 2,600 square feet of space for the women's and the men's. Plus the night we'll have a small office up there with showers and storage. Downstairs, from the door opening in the middle of the building where you see the building break, to the right-hand side will be our day shelter. It'll be, now these are tentative times, but theoretically it'll be open from 8 in the morning or whatever until 5. It'll shut down. We are not serving food. We do not want to duplicate services that are already out in the community. The next side over where the vehicle is parked there goes up into 2 offices and suites that we'll have our chapel in, and we're going to have offices for all the agencies that will operate out of here. They'll have desk space in there. In addition to the day center, we're going to have office spaces for them to allow them to meet with clients as they need it and do intake work and work together. The next unit beside it is the LMU. We worked out a deal with them and actually are giving them space to put in. They have a new dental school that opened in August. I went to Knoxville to their grand opening for it. And they'll have 5 units in there, and then Miles for Smiles is putting a vision lane in as well, so that we'll be able to serve the underserved there on a regular basis with a brick and mortar store. This is not, and believe me, there's enough dental needs out there, those that have worked and volunteered in these, that even with the ETSU deal coming on, there's plenty to serve and there's plenty of needs. So we're thrilled at this point. We are, if you can see it, this is down here on the bottom is the first floor, and you can see the what we are, this was the initial plans, and I'll show you can see them a little bit better in a minute when I show you the next slide, but that just gives you the layout, the second floor with the bedrooms and the stairs that are going up. That gives you an idea there of what I explained to you before. In the back, we've got a tremendous recreation yard, healing yard. It'll be enclosed with an 8-foot solid vinyl fence so that they have privacy. We're still working on the fire escape there. We have to add a new fire escape under where it says recreation yard up there. That's still to be built. We've been hung up on the sprinkler system for our sprinkler contractor bailed out on us 9 months ago. We were finally, November the 28th, we were finally able to get another contractor to give us a bid that we could afford. And Johnson Controls has come in and we signed that contract November the 28th, and they last week started putting sprinkler heads in. So, it's God's timing. I get frustrated, but He's in charge and it's working out. But these are some of the TCAT Elizabethton at North. The white hats are those students. The red hats are the dual enrollment students from Dobbins-Bennett. They're helping out down here. We're pouring concrete for the new handicap ramp in this picture. Jamel on the right is their instructor, an amazing individual. Hope we can keep him here in Kingsport. Summers Taylor did us right on the concrete we're pouring there, just the support we're getting from the community to help us to stretch those dollars. Believe me, things have gone out of sight price-wise. Electrical supplies. This is on the left is the engineer here in town that does the design work, that's doing the sprinkler heads and the contracts to Johnson Control, and that's Bo Johnson from Knoxville with there. This is a good Presbyterian from Colonial Heights, Presbyterian that's on the Habitat regulars now, moved down from the north, real north. He still talks like a Yankee, but he works with us like crazy. He's rewiring virtually everything. Every light bulb in there now is a no ballast LED bulb for power, and no ballasts are going to be going out on us. It's amazing what these guys, every outlet had to be changed to code in the building. There were 350 outlets, if you can imagine what they've done. Well, I'm changing, but I've lost my feed there. Man knows what he's doing, just tell you. Don't let him go. TCAT students down here, this is the bottom of the fire escape. So all this framing work has now been free labor. Talk about community involvement. These kids are doing something for the community. They're understanding homelessness. God's timing is at play right here, because we would have hired contractors to do this type of work. That's where the new men's showers will be going. There'll be 3 showers going in there. Anybody can tell me what those are? Anybody recognize them? Everybody driven through the drive-in at the Bank of Tennessee before it was torn down? Those are the shelters. The city was kind enough to give them to me if I'd take them all 4. Those people from over the hill down here, those Baptists, went over and took all the green broken glass out of it and cleaned up all that, and we're getting ready to haul them over to install them and make them for shelters in the back. Recycling. I indicated to you that the organizations are working together here now. We've got on the left here on our advisory board member, but she is actually, this is Miss Gray. She is actually Erin is the police social worker. She works for the police department. She goes on all homeless calls. Jonathan Anderson is at United Way. He works all that. Bobby Flowers in the back. He's from, and I honestly can't remember his name, I'm sorry. These others around here are from other organizations, KHRA, our director here. We've got, these are all the agencies, including Frontier Health, that are already working in our building, working together, staffing cases together, trying to get rid of duplications of services, and work on a team approach with no, we want to make it very clear that we're not trying to displace anybody's services. There's enough to go around. We want to work together. So this is an example of what's already happening in our building. That is what we waited for some. That is the standpipe for our sprinkler system. Took me 9 months to get it, but it's there. And I can't tell you that of how much blessing we've had that the city has been behind it. There's not a government dollar in this project yet. I can tell you that, but they have supported us in every way with the fire marshal, the city inspector working with us, design work, making sure we're doing it. They'll be over there in a minute if we've got a question, and we very much appreciate that. We have 3 advisory board members. Paul Montgomery just agreed to come on as an advisory board member. He was actually coming on the board and then started traveling out of town and couldn't do that, but he came on the advisory board. Jessica Harmon, our assistant city manager, and Aaron Gray, the police department, in addition to our regular board members, which are made up of, we've got Presbyterian, Catholic, Baptist, Mormon, and I don't know, but we're across the board, so we're all worshiping the same Lord anyway, but look at it. Come on. There we go. And this is as of yesterday, this is actually them putting the sprinkler system in. You can see the little orange pipe up, but this is actually a plastic type. It's called Blaze Master. It's a fire rated pipe, but it will freeze, so we have to be sure they're protected. And that's Miss Jo Morrison, your former DCE, our founder. That is the end of the formal presentation. I can tell you that we've got opportunities that can be used going forward. I've updated Gary Tucker and I stay emailing it back and forth all the time or texting, whatever. You all have been tremendous supporters, both financially and with people. We've got other projects that can be used on individual basis. If you let us know you've got a couple that want to work, we're starting to move in. Once we get the sprinklers in, I'm hoping we're going to step up. The plumber's supposed to come back after a 2-month absence and finish the showers to where Mountaineer Tile is going to actually put tile showers in all 5 showers and donating those for us. I can tell you that the organizations around here, Lowe's of West Kingsport, God introduced me to at a ribbon cutting for the chamber. He comes up and Jessica Harmon and I were talking about the homeless shelter. He says, "You opening a homeless shelter?" I said, "Yeah, that's what we're doing." And told him about it. He says, "You need something, you come see me." And I'd already opened a pro account, went down there, and I can tell you they have just been unbelievable working with us. People won't realize the need is out there. We've got homeless. We're going to have 20 men on the right-hand side of the building at night, capabilities, 20 women. And we can put more beds in, but we've got beds bought and paid for in the warehouse now to put in as soon as we get the flooring and the sprinkler systems in where we can get the sheetrocking in. So we keep getting pushed back, but while it's being pushed back, things are still happening, and I'm as frustrated as I can get. It's still God's timing. So I know we've got, Providence. We actually have been in touch with. They've been in touch with us, and we're actually going to put electrical units outside on the side of our building where they can bring their units over for their health things. Miles for Smiles, and Smitty can bring his X-ray unit over, and we can do our dental work over there, and it's going to be a real blessing for us here in town. So I guess at this point I've got maybe 5 minutes, or I'll be around afterwards, but I don't want to cut into their time at all, but I'm open for questions if anybody's got them. Yes, sir. When? Well, if we could get the sprinkler system in. Now, that can's rolled for 9 months now, so I have no idea. I'm hoping that once we get the sprinkler system tested and I can start putting the ceilings back in, because we have to insulate above them. We're still working on electrical, and there's still a little bit of concrete work, and then we have to put I can open with the fence that's there in the back. I mean, I can replace that later or at some point. I mean, I don't know. It's 3 to 4 months, I'm hoping, but that's a pure guess based on how quick they'll get sprinklers. Because they're working a lot of jobs. They've been up to casino, and they weren't there today. They were supposed to be in, but it's everybody knows the labor problems we've got. So, yes, ma'am. There's a day shelter and a night shelter. We will close the day shelter approximately 5 o'clock, and then we will lock them in at 10 o'clock in the night shelter. We're going to have security cameras all the way around the perimeter in the halls so that we know what's going on, and we're going to have security. We haven't come up with the exact thing, but we're not a 60-day out. We're looking at if they're making progress and we're trying to get them shelter, then that's what we're there for. All those counselors are going to be there working with them and available. They're already doing it. We've got the internet hooked up. We've got copy machines. We're faxing. All the agencies now are working out of our building already. So trying to pull the agencies together to get all those resources, whether it's driver's licenses or giving them a mailing address or whatever it happens to be. So, and then Shades of Grace will be making reservations. We'll show you for the dental care through LMU. So, we're trying to parcel out things. We're going to be looking for somebody that maybe a church that wants to look at the possibility of, say, we'll do devotions every Friday or something, chapel or whatever. We want, we're trying to, to work towards those goals. We're blessed in that the young lady that runs the Charlotte's shelter is actually from Kingsport, so we have access to all of their documents, their policies. We visited Knoxville. I've been to Augusta, been there, been to Johnson City. We've been to Bristol. We've been to, our groups have been to a lot of different shelters trying to do it right. So it won't be perfect, but it's going to be, with the help that we're getting from the community, it's going to be a good thing. So anything else I want to? Thank you. I'll be around. I've got plans if somebody wants to see the hard copies and all that. So, and to-do lists. Mr. Tucker has his own list over there now. He's been updated. So, and thank you, Bobby.
Thank you so much, Don. That was excellent. Thank you. Our brothers and sisters in Christ at the First Baptist Church, back in 2005, had a church-wide envisioning process. And with a Christian desire to reach out and serve others, Providence Medical Center was born, and they support spiritual support alongside medical health and physical care. Providence Medical Center serves all of Sullivan County and the greater Kingsport area as long as the residents meet their own income requirements and restrictions. But all of it is free. Their goal is to provide comprehensive medical care for a long range of medical conditions, some of which are just routine illnesses and general medical care. The gentleman who's going to be educating us tonight is Lois Artie Automati. Now, I butchered his last name, but that's okay, because he has given me and everyone in this room permission to call him Artie. So, Artie, please introduce your staff and educate us.
All right, thank you.
There you go.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you very much for having us tonight. I do want to introduce who is here with me tonight. Just as a way of introduction, my name is Artie, and that's fine, and that's what I get called at home and everywhere else I go. With me tonight, and I'm president of our board of directors for Providence Medical Clinic. With me tonight is Kim Hart. Kim, raise your hand. And she's our executive director for the clinic and has been with us since this past November. But she has hit the ground running and really making a lot of progress on a number of the goals that we have for this year. I'm also pleased to have my wife with me tonight. She said there's going to be a lot of friends here tonight, so she wanted to come and see all of y'all too. So it was very exciting to have her join me also. Alan's already mentioned, I think, a lot of what this first slide is about. Just what is Providence Medical Clinic? And what I want to emphasize, three things out of this first bullet here. The major goal, the major mission for Providence is provide quality medical care to those individuals who, for whatever reason, may not have access to it. And it's all done, second point, free. We don't charge for any of the services that we provide, whether it's a visit with a doctor, whether it's a laboratory test, whether it's medication, or any of the other services that we offer. So a patient can come and know that they're going to get treated free of charge. And then finally, it is faith-based. Every patient that comes in has the opportunity to visit with a spiritual counselor and have some spiritual time as well as healthcare time while they're at the clinic. And I'm going to talk more about this in a little bit later on some of the other slides about exactly what we get into as far as the spiritual counseling part. But we go beyond just the spiritual nature, but try and address other needs that the patients may have. We're located at 441 Clay Street. That's our physical location. If you're coming down Clay Street from Center towards First Presbyterian and Church Circle, we're right past Chef's Pizza. Everybody knows where Chef's Pizza is, right? So we're right past that, right there on Clay Street. We've been there since 2010. That's when we actually opened our doors. We started with a Thursday evening walk-in clinic, open one evening a week. Since then, we've grown to where we're now open 5 days a week. We're open every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 1. And then we still have our Thursday evening walk-in clinic on a first-come, first-served basis. The other 4 days that we're open, they're all scheduled appointments, just like you'd schedule your appointment with your doctor or with your health care provider. So we have grown to where we can offer that through the many volunteers that we have to provide those services, as well as the funding that we get from a number of different sources. One thing that's new for us, and that we're really rolling out this year, is we have acquired a mobile unit also. And we spent most of last year after acquiring it, and I say acquire, you mentioned Dr. Joe Smitty. Dr. Joe Smitty was very instrumental in us having this mobile unit because he gave it to us. All right? He's very involved with the health wagon in Southwest Virginia. And they had a older unit that they were getting ready to retire and buy a newer unit. And they said, "Would you like the older unit?" We said, "Sure." So we took it and we spent most of last year refurbishing it and doing some work on it because it was an older unit, so we needed to do some work on it. So that's what we've done last year. Now that we're into this year and we've got it up to what we think we need to be able to start taking it out, we have got it stocked, and we're going to have our inaugural foray into the community this coming Monday, May the 1st. We're going to be at Gravelly Road Baptist Church, which I don't know if you know where that is, but it serves the Bloomingdale and Lynn Garden area. And so we're going to go out there, and we've promoted the fact that we're going to be there, and we'll see what type of response we've got. We've also got other places in sight. Don mentioned the homeless ministry. We have talked with them. We would like to take it there once they're up and open. And we've looked at a couple other sites that we might go to also. Here's a picture of our mobile unit. It's a big old truck. It's a mobile home is what it is, essentially. And we've converted it into an exam room, essentially, on wheels, where we can see patients and provide some services to them. I'm showing this picture for two reasons. One, you can see it's hard to see. I know it's probably small. You can't make out much on the faces. We'll see some closer up pictures here in a little while. But this is our staff at the clinic. This is our paid staff. And that's us, except for our many, many, many volunteers. And we'll get into more detail on that here in a few minutes. The second thing I wanted to make sure you were aware of, you see that little white picture there right above their heads? There's what it says. You recognize any name on there that you notice? First Presbyterian. Last year, y'all made a very significant contribution to us for helping us refurbish our unit, and we really appreciate that, because without that, we would not have been able to do that. And we're looking forward to that continued relationship as we go out. All right, let's talk about how does someone qualify to be a patient at Providence Medical Clinic. As already mentioned, they need to be a resident of Sullivan County. That can include Kingsport, Bristol, Blountville, Piney Flats, anywhere within Sullivan County. You can be you need to live within that area. We also say the greater Kingsport area, because at the county line where Kingsport goes over into Hawkins County, as long as you've got a Kingsport address in Hawkins County, we'll see you also. The reason that we restrict ourselves to this geographical area is because there are other free clinics that serve other areas. So we're trying to stay within our area of operation. And there's certain areas that each clinic tries to serve. Second requirement is they must be uninsured. We don't deal with any insurance. I've already said everything we do is free. So our clinic is a cashless society, if that makes sense to you. We don't deal in money. We don't keep any cash on the premises. And it simplifies our life a lot easier, not having to deal with insurance companies. Of course, it does present challenges for those that come to us, and that's why we're there, to serve them. And then lastly, the third is the income guideline. Our patients have to be at 150% or below the federal poverty level, which for a one-person household is roughly $20,000 a year. For a four-person household, that goes up to about $40,000 to $45,000 a year. So it's pretty low income, as you can tell. And I've already gotten a few questions around the dinner table about how do we and Friends in Need compare, because Friends in Need is another charitable clinic here in Kingsport. And we do all of our patient care free of charge. Friends in Need uses a sliding scale, to where if a patient doesn't meet our income guidelines, we refer them to Friends in Need. And then they can, if they have some ability to pay, they can pay based upon their ability to pay. So that's the relationship that we have with Friends in Need. And if y'all have questions, I don't mind being interrupted or any time, just to answer any questions that y'all have. Yeah. Uh-huh. I think they're very similar, yes. I'm not sure exactly exactly all the services that Friends in Need have, but as far as health care, I think it'd be very similar, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about those services. What all do we do? First and foremost, we do primary care. Just like you have a primary care physician, we provide primary care for our patients. When you look at our patient population, we know that we're dealing with individuals that probably haven't had real regular care. There probably have been underserved in that area for a while, and their needs may be a little bit more than just somebody that has more routine care. If you look at our population, about 40% of them are diabetic. So we know we have to deal with that. We have many that have COPD, and we know we have to deal with that. So our physicians are constantly wanting to meet those needs, and not only through the care that we provide, but through the medications that we provide, and we'll see a little bit more on that in a little bit. In addition to primary care, we do offer also what we call specialty clinics, and I've listed a bunch of them up here because we do have healthcare providers that work in special areas and can provide services like what we're listing up there, whether it's pulmonary, orthopedic, dermatology. We have an on-site eye clinic where we can do eye exams and prescribe prescriptions. I list dental, but that is with Miles for Smiles because they will bring their trailer and do a clinic just for our patients so that we know that we're going to have a certain group of our patients there for them. And there's, several others. Under the patient education part of that is where we have sessions with our patients to educate them on diabetes. We have a diabetic education class and then what we call a disease management class. Disease management is where our pharmacist, who is a volunteer, goes over their list of medications with them and really explains to them why they're taking what medications and how they control whatever situation is, whether it's high blood pressure, high cholesterol, how do they control that through their lifestyle as well as through medication. So we offer quite a range of services there, as you can see. On the medication side, we provide most generic medications through two organizations. One's called Dispensary of Hope, which is a pharmacy organization that we are affiliated with, where they will provide us medications that we can give free to our our patients as long as they meet our eligibility guidelines. And while I'm talking about our eligibility guidelines, I forgot one thing I wanted to mention there. We do requalify our patients on an annual basis because if they become a lot of our patients are unemployed, but if they become employed and then they start making enough income to be above our income guidelines, we work with them on that, on getting them over to, and in a lot of cases, some of them will get insurance from time to time, either through TennCare or some other type facility. So we do requalify our patients on an annual basis. And I keep reminding myself of some things I wanted to say. Our current patient population of active patients is approximately 500. It's 480 some odd. Out of that, each year we probably see anywhere from between 100 to 150 new patients for the very first time. And that's been pretty consistent from year to year. So we have a fairly good turnover in patients because a lot of our patients are transitory in nature. But since we've been in operation since 2010, the total patients that we have seen has been over 2,300. So we are serving, I think, a very significant part of the population that meets the eligibility guidelines that we've already talked about. Back to medications, again, through Dispensary of Hope and through another organization called Direct Relief, Direct Relief is actually a grant that we get from that organization, and they provide us free medications through that organization. Dispensary of Hope we get most of our medications through them, and they, again, provide that all at no cost. The other aspect of our medications is we apply on our patients' behalf to pharmaceutical companies for patient assistance programs for any brand name drug. And that's a lot of your diabetic medications, your inhalers for COPD, a lot of the brand drugs that you'll see advertised on TV, like Eliquis, help me, Kim, Trulicity, all those, a lot of autoimmune, but we get all those, again, at no cost to our patients, because most of the pharmaceutical companies do have assistance programs like that. It's just you got to apply, and we do that on behalf of our patients. If you look at the retail value of what we obtained last year for our patients through this type of program, it was a little over $2 million worth of medications. So it's pretty significant of what we acquire for our patients through that program. A new area that we've just started, we are offering mental health counseling now. We have a counselor that is providing that service, and we are scheduling her with patients at this time. And that's something new for us. We've just started it this year, but we're very excited about that. And as the need for that, there is a need, but as we identify more and more individuals that need that, I'm sure we're going to be adding to that also. So that's another exciting area for us. And then lastly, we do provide laboratory services. That mainly means blood analysis or blood draws, but we also do a lot of other testing, whether it's one of the specialty areas that I didn't point out specifically is infectious disease. And the predominant area that we look at there is for hepatitis C. We do a lot of hepatitis C testing, and then we do treatment for that once we identify clients that are positive. And that treatment is, again, through a PAP program where it's a fairly expensive medication, but it's very valuable to be able to provide that service. Okay. As I mentioned, our paid staff, mainly nurses. We have a total of 5 nurses. May sound like a lot, but when I say 5 nurses, we have 5 different individuals. 2 of them are full-times, which means they work maybe 30 to 40 hours a week. The other 3 are part-time. They work about 24 hours a week. So on any given day, not all 5 of them are going to be there. It might be 1 or 2 or 3, depending on what the need is. We also have a pharmacy technician that does all of our pharmacy work. Right now, through the generics that we get to Dispensary of Hope and Direct Relief, we're probably filling about 400 prescriptions a month for our patients for that. So These are two of our nurses, Lindsay and Sharon, and they're at their workstation there where they're working on patient records. Lastly, we have two admin people, Kim, our director, and then an office manager that helps with all the patient scheduling and patient records and all that type of stuff is what she does. Volunteers. We couldn't operate without volunteers. You've seen we've got essentially 8 paid individuals that provide all these services to this number of patients. Without the volunteers, we wouldn't be in operation. And there's a number of different classes of volunteers, and I want to go through those with you just in a minute. First off, let me mention we are governed by a board of directors. Everybody on the board is a volunteer. We have representatives from numerous churches, Broad Street, First Presbyterian, and Steve Miller's. You're all representative on that board. Christ Fellowship, First Baptist. Help me, Kim. Who else? Central Baptist. Anyway, as Don said, very multi-denominational, and it's all targeted towards the patient and presenting Christ to that patient. Our medical director is Dr. Marta White, who is a DO, which I'm not a medical person, but that's some fancy term for means she's more than an MD. Is that right, Kim? Okay. More schooling than an MD. So she works with Ballard. She has her own practice, but she also spends a lot of volunteer hours with us. And we're very grateful for her because essentially the clinic operates under her license, so we have to be very respectful of her time as well as what she does for us. So hopefully some of y'all know Marta, but she's a great individual. We have a network of a number of other medical providers, probably on the order of, if you look at the primary care and then the list of specialties, we probably have about 40 or 50 providers overall that some of them may volunteer once a month, some of them may volunteer once a week, some of them may volunteer once every 2 months. It's just whatever time they can give us, we'll take it. And we, look at and need volunteers in all the medical areas, whether it's an MD, a physician assistant, a nurse practitioner, or an RN, or even an LPN. Any of the medical type individuals are very important to us. We do have established relationships. Part of our volunteers do come from established relationships we have with the ETSU family practice group. They bring residents over 2 times a month and help us see patients with that. We also have a relationship with Milligan College about, through their PA program, they bring over individuals that help us there. Yes, I think so, Kim. Yeah. Sorry about that. But we do carry our own malpractice insurance. I mean, we insure our volunteers, so it's a relationship that's very important to us, and so we do take care of them. We have also through ETSU and the School of Pharmacy over there, we have a Dr. Flores, who is a PhD in pharmacy, and she helps oversee our pharmacy operations, as well as she does a lot of our educational classes on disease management as well as diabetic education. So that's a very important relationship also. And, yeah. Yeah, no, we do not. We don't prescribe opiates, and there are certain. Yes, we do have restrictions. We don't have any narcotics in the clinic. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, the last group that volunteer for us are phlebotomists from. Help me, Kim. Yeah, Tennessee Technology and in Elizabethton. Okay. But we have volunteers from there because they're going through phlebotomy school, and in their terminology, they need to come and get so many sticks, and that's what they're getting. They're getting sticks at our clinic. Okay, but it's helpful for us because once the blood is drawn, then we can send it out for testing and have those results for our patients. Any questions about our volunteers from the medical side? All right. The other group of volunteers that we have and that we need are administrative and clerical support. We are still largely a paper organization. We do have an electronic health records system available to us, and we use that mainly for keeping up with our patient demographics and scheduling of appointments, and just keeping up basic information about the patients. As far as the actual medical records, that's paper. Because when you look at the number of different providers we have, not all of them would know our electronic medical records if they were to come in. It's much easier for them just to look at what's been going on through a series of paper than trying to get up to date on maybe a new electronic record system. But this is Janet. She's with St. Dominic's, and she's been very faithful as one of our clerical and administrative volunteers, and we have several needs for that if anybody's interested. And then lastly, we have our spiritual support that I mentioned previously. We have a group of volunteers that do that. Our coordinator for that is Cindy Cantrell, who is at Christ Fellowship. She handles the scheduling of all of our spiritual support people. And if you look there in the background, on the right-hand side are the medical records for our patients. This individual, if you see right where she's getting ready to pull a file out, that's her spiritual file for that individual. Each patient has two files, a medical file and a spiritual file, so that we can go back when they come in, that spiritual support person can look and see what's been discussed with that individual before, what type of prayer needs they might have, what other needs they may have, and can carry on that conversation from a knowledgeable standpoint rather than just starting from scratch every time. So we do keep that information on each patient. Any questions about that? Okay. One more thing on that. We offer this to each patient. It is optional. The patient they can refuse it if they don't want it. But during the discussion time, in addition to trying to determine their relationship with God and with Jesus, we also look for other opportunities to minister to them, whether it's other needs they may have, whether it's from the basic needs of clothing, food, shelter, or their educational opportunities, employment opportunities. And we do have a group that we can refer, the spiritual support person can refer them out to other individuals that can help them in other areas other than just either healthcare or the spiritual area. So we try and minister to the total need of the individual while they're there. Our funding for the clinic comes from a number of different sources. The clinic is a member of the Tennessee Charitable Care Network, which is a department, the Tennessee Department of Health funded organization. There are, within the state of Tennessee, I think there's 47 such clinics funded through this organization. And we're one of them. Friends in Needs is one of them. Healing Hands in Bristol is one of them. So there's several in our areas that are part of this organization. And what we do, what we get from this organization is grant money that helps us for our paid staff as well as some of our other expenses. Local churches are a very important part of our funding, yours included, but we also get support from a number of local churches, whether it's First Baptist, Broad Street, First Presbyterian, Christ Fellowship, St. Dominic's, and there's others after that. But it's very important for us, the support that we get from the local churches. And then we do have a relationship with Ballard. The relationship that we have with Ballard is that they provide funding to us to provide ongoing care to patients that come to their emergency room. If an uninsured patient comes to Ballard, you know, they've got to see them, and then being uninsured and probably low income, they're not going to realize much from that visit. Ballard refers that individual to us for ongoing care. And through what we do and the clinics that we can provide them, it keeps them from having to repeatedly go back to the emergency room, which in the long run helps Ballard on their overall cost. So our relationship with Ballard's very, very important. The other side of that, the relationship we have is that if there is a service or a test like a MRI scan, a CT scan, or some type of surgery required, we can pre-qualify our patients with Ballard to get that done through a Ballard facility. So that, again, it can get done at no cost for our patient, and we go through the upfront work to get that scheduled through Ballard. So it's very important for us to have that relationship with Ballard, and they've been great to work with because they're very helpful and provide, you know, a significant part of our funding. And then lastly, private donations is the other big factor in funding. So it's always important to remember the clinic and the needs that are there. I think, Helen, whenever you sent us a note about this, you asked about group volunteer opportunities. Okay. Some other things that we do where groups may want to get involved. We try and provide hygiene supplies to our patients whenever we have them. Things like tooth and toothbrushes, toothpaste and toothbrushes, shampoo, deodorant, mouthwash, anything like that. And we put little kits together and give them to our patients whenever they come to visit with us. We've had different groups collect those, patch them up, and bring them down to the clinic, and we'll give them out. So that's one type of opportunity. Some days we do have all-day clinics where we may have a clinic started in the morning and we know it's going to last through most of the day. I said our normal hours are 9 to 1, but if a provider says they can be there from 2 to 4 in the afternoon, we'll be open at 2 to 4. It's just whatever the provider does. So we do have all-day clinics at some time. And when we have all-day clinics like that, it's nice to be able to have some lunch provided too. So that's another group opportunity if anybody's interested in trying to participate in something like that. Lastly, thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to talk, and hopefully we've answered any questions you might have, but if not, I'll be glad to see what you'd like to know. Well, as I said, we've just started doing mental health counseling. We can see that as a growing area for us. So we have a counselor on staff that, or not on staff, but we have a counselor that's agreed to provide that service to us, and we can offer counseling sessions for individuals or for patients. And if they're not a patient now, they can always come talk to us, and we can see what we can work out with them on that. What Kim was saying was that our current counselor, she's providing that services on Thursday mornings. But as we grow, we will extend that to more times and probably add counselors also. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Artie, and thank you, Kim. Thank you, Don. But I mainly want to thank everyone in this room. I'm proud to be a First Presbyterian Church member because of our generosity and our willingness to serve. And I'm so glad that we're educated tonight about opportunities for us to go forth and be the hands of Christ. That said, I'd like to close with a short prayer. Loving and merciful and gracious Father, we thank you so much. You have given us so many blessings. We ourselves normally do not have to worry about where we spend the night. And we don't have to worry about where we can go to get medical and mental health. We know that your sheep do have those worries every single hour of every single day. Help us to remember that your mercies go out to them as well as us, and let us be your hands. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.